Hey, it's BG. Question for you. Have you ever been upset that your garbage wasn't picked up? Or are you tired of the long hospital wait times? Or do you have a family member potentially stuck in the immigration system? All of these are issues that are extremely frustrating. And of course, we all want to blame someone. And for the most part, that blame lies with the government. But the government is also a very broad term. For example, maybe those frustrations should be directed at your mayor and city council. Or is it your premier and provincial government? Or maybe it lies with the prime minister and the federal government. It's time we talk about the different levels of government and what they're responsible for.
Now, Canada is a huge country with a diverse population and communities with their own unique needs and interests. For all these needs to be addressed and for Canadians to be served more effectively, the government is split into 3 levels. First, you have the federal government, which is responsible for the entire country. Then, there are provincial and territorial governments, which are responsible for their province or territory. And finally, you have local or municipal governments, who are responsible for their city or town.
Okay, now that we understand that there are 3 levels, what does each level do? So, let's start with the federal government. They handle all matters of national and international concern like national defense, foreign affairs and trade, currency, fisheries and oceans, and citizenship and immigration.
The provincial and territorial governments are more responsible for issues that are regional, that include issues like education, healthcare, natural resources, transportation, and highways.
Local and municipal governments represent the interests of cities, towns, and villages, and they're responsible for local matters such as waste removal, water and sewage, libraries, and parks and recreation.
In Canada, we vote for people to represent us at each level. So when you go to vote at the polls, you're not voting for the party leader, but rather the politician representing your riding. Federal elected representatives are called members of parliament, or MPs for short. They gather to debate and pass laws in the House of Commons.
Now, depending on where you live, the provincial or territorial elected representatives go by different names. For example, in British Columbia, they go by Members of Legislative Assembly, or MLA. In Ontario, they're actually called Members of Provincial Parliament, or MPP. In Quebec, they are Members of the National Assembly, or MNA. And in Newfoundland and Labrador, they're actually called Members of the House of Assembly, or MHA.
Finally, at the municipal level, our elected representatives are normally called councillors and they meet at their city or town hall. Now, along with that, each level of government also has a leader. The head of the federal government is the Prime Minister, for example, Justin Trudeau for Canada. The leader of the provincial or territorial government is the Premier, for example, Doug Ford for Ontario. And the leader at the municipal level is usually called the Mayor, for example, John Tory for Toronto.
Each one of them has its own responsibilities and power of areas. The federal government isn't responsible for things like healthcare, as that's actually a provincial responsibility. However, the federal government does provide funding to the provinces to implement their own healthcare plans. For immigration though, for example, that is actually a federal responsibility rather than a municipal one. And if you're upset with your parks not being kept up or your garbage not being picked up, remember, that's not a provincial responsibility, it's actually a municipal one. It's important to know what each level of government is responsible for so you have a better understanding of who is doing their job and who isn't, and also who you should blame and call if you're upset. Hey, we hope this helps. Hey BG Squad, thanks so much for checking out our channel, and listen to this, we have more great content for you like this video right here and this video right here. By the way, don't forget to subscribe to this channel right now and tap that notification bell.